Roderick, as both Mr. Arrigo and Dr. Gulia noted, the government announced the extension of the wage supplement in its present form until the end of the year. But from the beginning of 2021, it is being tweaked to see which sectors require more aid. I understand that the intention is meant to encourage businesses retain their workforces. How will this amended wage supplement affect hotels and restaurants?
Good afternoon. There's no denying, like Honorary Gulia and Honorary Arrigo intimated, that the wage supplement has been a very important undercarriage and support for the hospitality industry. Let's remember that the hospitality industry is underlined with huge fixed costs, which are unrelated to the level of turnover that there is. Can you imagine the devastating effect on your bank account if you have wages and salaries that have to be paid of running into 6 digits every month, and the revenue has suddenly dried up? That was the situation hotels had to face last March or April when they shut down. So there's no denying the fact that the wage supplement was an important aspect of keeping the industry alive. But of course, hospitality industry is burdened with other fixed costs, not only wage costs. For example, even energy. Energy is part variable, but also part fixed. Because, for example, hoteliers cannot just switch off the boilers just because they have low occupancy. But then there are other fixed costs which run throughout the industry, like restaurants, which is rent. I've just seen a statistic last week which read that over 54% of businesses didn't manage to renegotiate their rent downwards during the pandemic. Can you imagine what a double effect, double whammy, if you like, that is on your business? So there's no denying the fact that rent also is a material fixed cost, especially for those industry players who command premium slots. However, one has to recognize the fact that wages are a huge material fixed cost, probably the largest fixed cost. The budget document yesterday confirmed that the wage supplement cost the government something in the region of 155 million euros. And it also confirmed that the beneficiaries of this supplement was to keep over 75,000 full-time employees and 10,000 part-time employees keep their job. Now, you're, of course, be forgiven for underestimating the effect of this wage supplement, because let's face it, for businesses, this was a throughput cost, right? You received the money and it went straight out to the employees. But if you stop to ponder the multiplier effect of 80,000 people receiving 800 per month and its effect on the economy, those employees spent it on outlets. Those outlets spent it on their suppliers, and so on and so forth. So you immediately realize that it was such a pivotal, if you like, aspect of the government support, which went far beyond in the economy to the tune much further than 155 million. But obviously, if we rewind back to April, let's face it, to my mind, there's no denying the fact that this wage supplement was a knee-jerk solution by the government. Both because the government didn't have the luxury, neither of time nor of statistics, to come up with something to support the economy. So the government said, okay, so we'll have NXA and NXB. NXA will benefit to the tune of 800, NXB get 160, and at least it gave some sense of stability to the industry. But of course, it's an open secret that not all businesses fit squarely into NXA and NXB. And some were even severely hit, even though they weren't an annex company, if you like. Now, to my mind, and with her first-hand knowledge, I think the government has been very flexible in allowing at least an exception to non-annex companies approving their case that they were severely hit to be eligible for the wage supplement. Some were approved, some were rejected, because obviously there are real constraints in everything. Now, the government, I think, is being intelligent, if you like, with this measure in fine-tuning the wage supplement. Because now, with the benefit of 9 months behind it, it can come up with tailor-made industry-specific wage supplement to support all the other supporting businesses around hotels. Let's face it, travelers come to hotels for a holistic overall experience. And it's in no one's interest, Terence, to say that the last thing we want to see are travelers going to hotels which are surrounded with outlets, which have in the meantime closed down.
Exactly.
Terence, back to you.
Thank you. Roderick, I think you touched on this earlier on in your intervention. I think all sectors are hoping to see breaks on energy bills. In fact, I was talking to a hotel general manager recently who was telling me his monthly electricity bills runs into the 4 figures. You brought it up a little while ago. And they didn't decrease substantially during the 3 months closure, as you explained. Now, hotels and restaurants have had support from the government to cover parts of their costs, but with no substantial revenue coming in, how sustainable do you think is the situation now?
Thank you, Terence. Let's put things into perspective. I think the hospitality industry generates so much value added that no government measure, nor any fiscal government intervention or fiscal measure can ever replace, if you like, the opportunity cost or the lost value added. So let's keep that into perspective. I think if we go back and with the benefit of hindsight, we can easily categorize, if you like, the main assistance of the government into 3. First, there was the wage supplement, then there were the vouchers, then there was the assistance on rent and energy bills. With regards to the first, no questions asked, it's undeniable. Ruben confirmed it, Joe confirmed it, and I'm sure all the stakeholders within the industry would confirm. COVID wage supplement these companies would have failed without it. It has been so pivotal for their survival, just survival. But at least they managed to survive and keep fighting, liquidity-wise and so on. With the vouchers, we saw a different phenomenon creating. Now, Ruben, I think touched on this aspect, and I'll amplify on it. We saw the propensity to save balloon out of control, increased bank deposits and so on. And then we have seen a crushing decrease in the propensity to spend. Now, this is normal when fear hits, because consumers start to ask, hang on, do I have enough? And do I have enough for my kids' bills? And what if I lose my job? Mm-hmm. Because fear paralyzes consumers into inaction. Yeah. Because most often we suffer more in our imagination than in reality. Mm-hmm. So what we've seen out of the vouchers, which have yesterday confirmed has cost the government something in the region of 45 million. The multiplier effect, however, was very low. It was taken as 1.4, which goes to mean, in plain English, that everyone who had the vouchers spent those vouchers, but little more. Now, that is important to take into consideration. Why? I expected the government yesterday to tweak a bit the voucher scheme. Well, it's still in time to consider it, if you like, because this is coming out in January, and the government has been quite open to ideas. I would have tweaked the idea of the vouchers instead of a free lunch to everyone, but instead to give an incentive to those consumers who are willing to part a bit with their savings to invest more into the economy. Why is this? Why do I say this? Because the effect of the vouchers so far in the first round has been 45 million with a multiplier effect of 1.3 or 1.4. Now imagine the effect of 45 million, the same price, plus multiplier, plus, if you like, if this is taken out as, for example, consumers are given, instead of the voucher of 100 euros or 60 and so on, a discount of 70%, 80 or whatever, more or less, on any discount, on any hotel or restaurant. In that way, apart from the 45 million and its multiplier effect, which we had in the first round, we will also have an injection by the private consumer of 30% of each hotel and restaurant bill, plus the multiplier effect on that. So that is an important, perhaps, consideration. I don't know what the stakeholders think about it, but as a first reaction, I thought it would have been a good idea to address, if you like, the increased fear which led to the propensity to save. Bank deposits, money lying in the bank deposits are not going to kickstart the economy. But what can kickstart it is if private consumers in Malta start to ask, hang on, it's okay if I spend that much. Now, if a lot of people start saying that, that is a substantial intervention in the market. But to answer your question, Terence, with regards to electricity costs, let's face it now, all the government has to recover any measure taxes, and that's undeniable, right? Now, of course, I would welcome any assistance on the electricity bills, but if that is coming at a cost of reduced assistance on the wage supplement, then I would think I would prefer to hold on to the wage supplement, because the multiplier effect on the local economy in energy is limited. There's only one supplier, mainly in Malta. Yeah. But on the wage costs, there are substantial number of multiplier effects. And that is what hotels and restaurants need in Malta. In the absence or in the light of the reduced tourism, what we need is to kickstart the economy, the local economy. And that can come by reassuring locals that they need not fear the worst. Yeah. Because the government and the players are doing all they can to make the best out of it. Back to you, Terence.